Hello and welcome to another edition of the podcast. As always, my name is Juan, here with the maestros, Kevin and Mark, and we like movies. We watch them, we talk about them, we rate them, we love them. On this episode, our exploration leads us to the 2023 film The Pale Blue Eye, directed by Scott Cooper and starring Christian Bale. We arrive here in the trusted hands of Mark, who selected this. We'll go to him in a moment, but first, let me give you the IMDb synopsis of the film with added notes. At West Point Academy in 1830, the calm of an October evening is shattered by the discovery of a young cadet's body swinging from a rope just off the parade grounds. An apparent suicide is not unheard of in a harsh regimen like West Point's, but the next morning, an even greater horror comes to light. Someone has stolen into the room where the body lay and removed the heart. Now, here, this person has no idea what they're talking about because that body was found with the heart already cut out. But I digress. The Academy enlists the help of a famous constable, August Landor, to solve the mystery. As another body turns up, he enlists the help of a quirky but brilliant cadet with a taste for the poetic by the name of Edgar Allan Poe. As the tale unravels, it becomes clear that there is more to August than meets the eye, and that sinister forces are also at hand. Markimus, this was your selection. Tell us why you chose this and give us your initial thoughts on the film.
All right. Well, first I gotta say, Kevin, you really missed an opportunity after Juan dropped that bomb. There was silence,
I
bro.
was
That
waiting.
was.
I was looking for it, Mike.
I felt Juan waiting. That's why I busted out laughing. Because for the high five, it just got left hanging. Oh man.
Uh, I'm working. It's a
And
work
he
in
had to
progress,
just
people.
continue. This guy fumbled the bag, bro. Oh gosh. Anyways, um, I'm gonna be really truly honest. My number one pick for this movie was just because of Christian Bale. I like most things that he's in. He's always, it's always interesting to see his body transformation if there is one, and two, you're gonna get a good showing of a character. So he was my biggest pick. I didn't really know anyone else that was in the movie. I didn't know what it was about. I don't know who Scott Cooper is. Yeah, I strictly went off of Christian Bale. Uh, that being said, I think this movie was far too long for what it needed to be. I think that a condensed version of this movie would have been better. Um, Probably like a half hour could have been shaved off, honestly. And I think just in the second half, I mean, I was hooked by that point, or at that point. Up until then, it was okay for what it was, a little detective story, but it was creeping the borderline of boring. But once everything kicked off and things started being unveiled, it got way more interesting. So I feel like had that have come to fruition sooner, that would have been better for this movie. But as it stands, it was interesting, but also somehow boring.
Let me just jump in here and remind Mark that this is the second Scott Cooper movie that we are reviewing.
Oh yeah, what was the first?
Antlers.
Uh,
Uh,
See,
well,
Antlers
thank
was
you
another
for
one. I
that.
thought there was some good
Mhm,
some good moments, there, but
mhm.
yeah, all right, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Well, all right. Kevin, why don't you go?
Okay. I agree with Mark. I found myself for the first hour and a half thinking, all right, this is an okay, average, like detective mystery story, nothing too great. That last half an hour, though, what I really got into, and it repaints the first hour and a half, and I was like, I may want to rewatch it just to see if they gave some clues, for that twist and everything. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So,
Mm.
like I said, I thought the first hour and a half was an average, whatever. It gets saved by that last half an hour.
Wow, we could not be on more opposite sides of the spectrum.
You liked the first half hour and a half and hated that last half?
Can I go
Or you
into
just
my
hated it all together.
can I is it my turn now?
Wait,
Well,
hold
yeah.
on.
Oh
I
no,
didn't
hold on.
I didn't give up the microphone yet.
Oh my bad.
Juan, what did you think?
Okay, thanks.
You better wait your turn, boy.
Let me start off by saying that I enjoyed an hour and 50 minutes of this film. And up to that point, found it a very satisfying little wannabe horror slash mystery film. However, I hated the twist. I hate that the people who made it love the twist and are patting themselves on the back and thinking themselves so clever and sneaky for creating that twist. In my opinion, it ruined the movie completely. More on that later. Aside from that, Christian Bale was his usual fantastic self. The guy doesn't know the definition of the phrase phoning it in. It doesn't exist in his vocabulary. Do you believe in destiny? If you don't, I present to you Harry Melling, who was destined to play Edgar Allan Poe. He literally looked like a living, breathing, walking, talking portrait of Edgar Allan Poe. Never, not even Heath Ledger as the Joker, Robert De Niro as Travis Bickle, or Marlon Brando as Don Corleone. Never has an actor been more set apart by the gods for a role than Harry Melling was forged in the fires of Mount Doom to play Edgar Allan Poe. It's unfortunate because there was a lot to like about this movie, from the acting to the setting to the plot. It wasn't breaking any new ground, but again, it was satisfying for what it was until they decided to completely light it up in flames with a stupid twist. Also, apparently, Scott Cooper loves making horror movies that aren't horror movies or the least bit scary. The guy is a really good director, but the films that I've seen of his so far seem frustratingly flawed. Although I really do want to watch Hostiles, and Crazy Heart was pretty good. But that's my initial reaction.
So I will say, I never. There
Got
it
him.
is. There it is. I will say, I never said I liked the twist. I was just saying I enjoyed when things started finally um, coming together because I felt the first part, well, the 75% of it, it wasn't bad. I really enjoyed the
Hmm.
acting. I enjoyed where it was going and what could have possibly happened, but I guess I was just so starved and thirsty for horror that when it got off the rails, I was like, yes, finally. Um, so that's kind of where I was at. I don't like when things happen off screen and we're just supposed to assume. So the fact that there was no really hints that um Landor what well so in the end for people who are watching, we're gonna spoil the hell out of this. Watching, I mean listening, goodness gracious. Um yeah, so anyways, with that being said, when we find out that Landor is the one that initiated the whole events by killing someone that raped his daughter, there was no hint towards it. There was no possible, oh wait, whoa, could have Landor could Landor have done something? There was none of that. So when it all happened, I wasn't like, oh my god, that's crazy. I was just like, ha, oh wow, okay. But I was entranced by Melling. I mean, when he had that tear rolling down as he's giving his details of what he realized. It was just great acting. So there was never a moment in this movie where I was just like, man, this sucks. But I was just like, ah, there just so much more. There could have been more. Could have been better. Oh baby, that wasn't me.
Yeah, listen, I'm with you. Like I remember you saying that you hated that about movies that are like that, and I hate it too. But truth be told, about this movie, I really enjoyed, those 90% of it.
We keep changing the percentage. By the end of this, that thing gonna be at 99.9.
but at the same time, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna talk about because it was just so like it was like neat and polished and kind of straightforward, like here's this mystery, he's gonna solve it, he's looking for clues, blah blah blah. It was like I just didn't feel like there was much, underneath the surface. And then I just, for them, I, I I don't know if I want to get into it right now at this point so early on. But what the heck? This is what pisses me off. All right. The author of the book said this about the movie. He said, I think there are things that definitely make more sense the second time around once you know the ending. And I hope people will come back to it. So I literally get to crush a man's hope because no, sir, I will not be coming back to it. If you make a
Wow.
film that anyone has to watch more than once to make more sense of it, you've taken a wrong turn somewhere. The only one that can pull that off is Christopher Nolan.
Well, I was
Be-
gonna say, I think Sixth Sense pulled that off
Yeah,
too.
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah. But anyways, I digress. I see what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying.
but just like what you described, Sixth Sense makes you want to go back because the clues were
Right.
there,
I want to go. Yeah.
right? So here, but the problem here is like you throughout again 90% of that movie you grow with these characters, right? And you learn to like them or love them for who you've known them to be this whole time. And then in the
Yep.
last 10 minutes, you decide to turn all of that on its head and you expect the audience to follow along and then to be like, derp, I'm going to watch that again to make sense of it. Like, that's stupid.
Yeah.
And that being said, though, on the opening shot when Landor is washing that little instrument in the water,
Yeah.
I did in that moment, I was like, "Oh, that water looked a little red," but
Oh, there you go. There you go. But see, I mean, saying it looked a little red still isn't enough to warrant a whole another watch through of this movie. But when they popped that scene up again of him washing at the river, I was just like, oh, are you kidding me?
mhm.
So that's I was supposed to go. Oh, wait a second. What's he doing by that river there?
Oh, you're supposed to say, "Oh, I'm so stupid. How did I catch that?"
Well, so I guess to explain it for those who might never watch this movie, it starts with him um, cleaning his instrument of death by the riverside, but we don't really see what he's washing. And like Juan said, there's a bit of a tint of red, but you would have to be on your second viewing watching that and
Yeah,
looking out for it.
yeah.
Um, so what happened was when Poe unveils all this and he realizes that Landor's the one that started this by his first killing. Um, it cuts back to that scene where he's again washing his instrument of death in the river. So that was supposed to be the aha moment, but it wasn't there wasn't enough there for me to go, aha, maybe if there was a trail of blood
Mhm.
behind him, if, something more than a light tint of red. But honestly, now that you say that, I kind of want to go back and watch it again
Well,
because one, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. The first watch through, I wasn't mad at it. I was just like, this was nothing to,
yeah.
call home about. So I guess I feel like since it wasn't at least I know I'm going to be watching something pretty decent because again, the acting was phenomenal.
Yeah, so I mean, I just want to tell people that if they are intrigued or want or are planning to watch this, just set aside 4 hours because you're gonna have to watch it twice.
That's pretty good. But yeah, that is pretty silly to say that, hey, if you really want to enjoy this movie, you gotta watch it again.
Yeah,
It's kind of like, wait a minute, are you just now you're just selling yourself
dude.
here? What's
Like,
happening?
well, it's funny because like I literally wanted to watch it again, and now that the guy said I should watch, I'm like, now I don't want to watch it again.
Bro,
But I
like,
did watch it when I finished. I was like, oh, I want to watch it again. Maybe I missed some clues.
imagine if you read a novel, and when you when you got to the last page, you were like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna have to read this again just to
12,
make sense of it."
1,200 pages. That last page is like, hey, if you really want to understand it, read it again. Like what? Oh man, this
And
took me 2 years to begin with.
I know, and like I said, dude, it's a shame because the rest of it was so polished. Like again,
Yeah,
it was, it even had some it had a twist already
right.
too, like so it was like why at that when it was when at the what you thought was the first ending, and he's walking away from the academy after talking to that captain or whatever.
Yeah,
You're like, all right, it's about to roll credits. You're like, all right, that was pretty good. That I would watch again
yeah,
because it was good, and like the dynamic with Edgar Allan Poe, and then you're like, oh, okay, so this is fictional, but like you could see how this experience would have shaped him, and be Landor as this father figure, and like all these things that like worked really well,
yeah.
and then you have to go and like completely destroy it. It was so dumb.
So let me ask you at the part where Leah goes, "Hey, remember when you said you'd do anything for me?" Do you think he agreed to that, or do you think like how was he all of a sudden drugged? I don't. I was kind of like, wait a minute, why is he passed out? Why is he not feeling so great? That was just a weird
Yeah.
transition.
Oh,
I thought she was like he was gonna be awake going, "Oh man, what did I sign up for?" But instead he was like drugged of some sort. So that was weird. So
yeah.
do you think he agreed to do that or do you think he was drugged? I don't know. Or
We
both.
we can add that to my lengthy list of questions if you want to hear those.
Because he was mad that she got killed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Like
So good.
no, and he still thought that like she was in love with him.
Well, no, I don't think he I think it was more that he was in love with her because he kept saying that, like he loved her, he loved her, he loved her. So, I mean, he also did mention that he always got bullied. So, like, what girl's gonna want to be with the bullied kid? So maybe he did have delusions of grandeur that she was in love with him still.
Yeah.
He
Very
had some
possible.
delusions of something.
Yeah. That's very possible. Well, let's back up here, right? Because we jumped all the way to the final twist, but the twist again, was that your mouth or like a machine?
That was my.
He's got a talented
It
mouth.
was my dump truck in the back, bro. I started it up real quick.
There's a miniature dump truck that you have remote control and you're backing it up. Um, no, so all right. So the thing is that not only are these fellas being killed, but they're having their hearts ripped out, and
Yeah.
so it turns out that there's
Can I say one thing real quick before you go? Those fellas that were getting
hey,
killed.
I'm still
Oh,
holding the
I
mic.
know. I'm taking the mic. All those boys look like they could have been the same guy. Like that's the only confusing part
Wait,
for me.
hold on, Kevin. I have to say something first. So yeah, I thought so too.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm like, I couldn't tell them apart. I'm like, there were some
yeah,
generic looking white boys right there.
that was confusing too. But yeah,
You
so
really had to know their names, remember
yeah,
their character names.
yeah, and then they're all in the same uniform.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, it turns out that there's this family who has a sick girl, and they stumbled upon this demonic, satanic, cultish book that says that they can heal her, utilizing the hearts of young men. Um, so that
And
we,
a child. They mentioned child, but like they were. I thought we were gonna watch a child's heart get ripped out,
yeah.
which I was like, oh man, we about to see some horror. So that
Hmm.
didn't happen.
Hmm.
So I don't know if maybe that's why the the ritual wasn't working because maybe they had to have all three hearts at once because they mentioned three hearts. It
Hmm.
was the kid, or a child,
An
a man,
animal.
or no, was it a dead man? Yeah, it was a
Oh,
dead man because that's the one that made us go, oh, a hanged man. That's what it was.
oh,
So it
so
was
they were collecting specific hearts.
yeah, yeah. But the thing is, they collected an animal, which I don't remember them saying animal.
Yeah,
Uh,
the sheep and stuff that were killed.
oh, yeah, no, no. I know they killed the sheep and oxen, but when they talked about the
Yeah,
what was it,
they did mention
Book of Diablo or Diable or something, in that book when they were talking about it, they mentioned three different hearts that they had to collect, and I remember two as a child's heart and the heart of a hanged man. But I don't remember the first one. But I remember it not being animal related, so that's why I was confused as to why they were getting the hearts of animals if that's not in the book.
Hmm. Well, I think I. Oh well, hold on though, because a baby goat is a kid.
Oh damn!
Oh, oh
Come on,
snap!
explosion, bro! Pew, 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 pew. Like, come on,
I,
bro!
I don't.
You
Edgar
stink
Allan
it.
Poe, mother effers.
I can't.
You
That's
suck at
like
it. Hey,
freaking
there it is. That's something.
what's
That's
the
better
name?
than nothing, man.
Okay,
Uh,
because
Wow, that's pretty good. A
I,
kid.
I I think I missed that because I was confused as to why, because if they didn't kill the first few, so I
Yeah,
was like, so why are they gonna kill Poe? So what
yeah.
was his heart then?
maybe I
Um,
still. So
it
no,
could
they
have been.
said
Hold
they
on, I'm
wanted
gonna
to
look
try
this up
a
now.
heart from a living person because the other person had already died
Oh, okay,
to see if it was better, more powerful.
okay, a telltale heart.
Dun, dun, dun.
Okay, so that's one question answered. I got more. Um, in the end, when he's revealing to Landor that he, figured out what was going on, what was the note that he burned in the candle?
Oh, I
It
guess
was
that was his confession.
no, it was the note. Because he had two notes. He had the note that they found in the dead man's hand, and then the
Yeah.
note that Landor had written him that said "Come see me," and he had folded it and put it right in that little statue, and they
Mm-hmm.
re-showed it again in the flashback. That was his evidence, but that he burned it.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right. Another question answered. All right. Another question. I don't know if you'll be able to answer this one.
We're doing well so far.
Don't count us out. Um, what was the point of bringing up the fact that Landor had a reputation for drinking too much if it was absolutely completely irrelevant in the story?
It was irrelevant. Next question.
Okay. What was the point of the character played by Charlotte Gainsbourg, Patsy, which is the girl that he's sleeping with? All she did was come by important information that she just passed on to him at opportune times. That was the only reason why she was in the story.
Well,
She
yeah, I
was
mean, she's a bartender. So for me, like bartenders are always talking to people, and I feel like that's just someone that he was like, "Hey, uh, you want to do something tonight?" And she's getting off a shift and like, "Yeah, sure." And then they just start talking, and he realizes, "Oh wait, she kind of has some knowledge, so I'm just gonna continue this relationship of banging the knowledge out of her."
to me. She was like, but to me, she was like one of the two Deus Ex Machinas
Yeah.
because like she literally just existed to me at the very end. Poe was like, "I know what happened to your daughter," and it flashes back and she's telling him, "Hey, let me tell you
Yeah.
what happened to his daughter." I'm like, "It's the only reason she existed in the movie."
Right,
Ex-
and that's another point. Like he never seemed like the type to, give up all of this information because he was very secretive with everyone else. So
Mhm.
I guess I'm just supposed to understand the power of vagina, and he's having it and going, you know what? I'm going to spill the beans. Like, come on, how am I supposed to? He is closed lipped like for everyone else. He doesn't talk about his life or nothing with no one else. So how are we supposed to know? Oh yeah, I figured she was going to be the loose end. Like, come on, that's silly.
Yeah. Okay. Next question. What was the point of bringing up that Landor is this incredible interrogator if you never show him interrogating anyone?
Well, no, that happened at the beginning. Um, when he first got hired on, he interviewed those cadets that were side by side. Stoddard was one of them. The guy from Ozark was the other one. I forgot who he
Oh yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So at that point, he was interrogating them. He interrogated Poe. It was a little friendlier, but if you notice his demeanor and the way he was in detective mode. Um, so I think after that, though, like after the first 25% of the movie, he stopped doing the interrogations.
So those were like quasi interrogations, though.
Correct. Yeah, there was
You know,
no
like
full blown. Hey, this is what
yeah,
we're about to do.
yeah.
But
Like if you're gonna have him say a line like, if you wait long enough, the truth comes out, or something like that, then actually show him like in a like one on one with someone in a room by themselves, and it's like, all
If you
right,
don't
baby,
tell me
it's
what I want to know, I'm gonna bang it out of you.
it's
but see,
interrogation time.
but see,
That's how he interrogated everyone, having sex with them.
but like on that part, I think it came all back to Poe in that very last scene. He's in the cab with Landor, and now
Uh-huh.
he's interrogating Landor. He's talking, and then sometimes he's quiet or whatever. He's piecing everything together. I think it was just to show that Edgar Allan Poe had learned from him. Even though Edgar Allan Poe was a little Sherlock Holmes, which was kind of cool, but like he started piecing all this together, and he was interrogating Landor and
Yeah,
getting the confession basically from Landor.
yeah.
Well, he learned by osmosis because I don't think he ever witnessed a confession, an interrogation.
He notices things we don't notice, my friend.
He wasn't there
Exactly.
for any of it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so
All
that's
right.
it's a bit of a hole there.
Question. What was the point of Robert Duvall's character? All he does is
You
hang
mean
around it.
Jean Pepe?
He was-
All he does is hang around his home in his massive library, hoping that someone's going to come around who's trying to solve a murder that also happens to deal with devil worshippers.
Bro, he's the demon hunter, bro. I respect that. Every good movie has a demon hunter.
You know who you remind me of from Antlers? Reminded me of the old sheriff who had all the answers about the Wendigo. Hey,
The Native American one too.
Robert Duvall was the other Deus Ex Machina. I was like, hey, we're just gonna go to this guy, and he has the answers to move the story along.
Literally everything, and he had a book on it too.
And he knew exactly where to go to in the book. Oh, let me
Yeah.
show you.
Oh, and not only that, then Landor knew exactly just from the cover how to identify the book in some dark corner of the bookshelf in the doctor's office.
Oh, I will say that was very frustrating with this movie. Unless it was me, those dark scenes were very dark, and it was hard to see what was happening.
Oh, thank God. I didn't want to mention it because y'all make fun of my TV being so dark.
Well, I
But I was
watched on my iPad. I got an iPad Pro, so it shouldn't be me. Like this is a top of the line device, so I can't imagine that the colors aren't what it needs to be, and I'm looking at something that is much brighter in real life.
And you know what? I would have been okay with all of these things. I would have been okay with Robert Duvall. I would have been okay with Charlotte Gainsbourg. I would have been okay with the drinking and the interrogating and all those holes if it would have just ended when it was supposed to end. But they had to do what they did.
Well, why don't you
Yeah.
just watch it again and turn it off right when he's walking away? Boom, I'm done. That's it. We're done.
What a great movie.
I should have.
Well, you know what? On that second viewing, you might see things that you should have saw the first time, but you're too dumb to see it.
Yeah, it's possible.
This is gonna the second time. Okay, so I think I'm gonna be the guinea pig. I'm gonna watch this again, and I'll report back. I'll let you know if it's mind blowing the second time.
So this is Mark, since you well, from your intro we picked up that you are rightfully so a huge Christian Bale fan. This is his third movie with Scott Cooper. The first two were Out of the Furnace and Hostiles. Have you seen either of those?
I have not. I have not.
I
Guess
really
I'm
want to see
not
Hostiles.
a I'm not a Scott Cooper. Heard of Hostiles, but I never got a chance to watch it. I don't know
It's a
why.
Western.
That's probably why.
Yeah. Look.
Yeah.
What I do like about Scott Cooper is that although the ones that we've seen, Antlers and the Pale Blue Eye, are very similar in tone, and in theme. He's all over the place with his other movies, which I like. He directed Crazy Heart, which was good, and he also directed
Really?
Black Mass. Yeah, he also directed Black Mass with Johnny Depp about that
Yeah.
Boston mobster, which wasn't a great movie, but I mean it's different. So I
Didn't
give him credit
start
for
winning a
that.
lot of awards?
It did. Jeff Bridges, Best Actor. Um, Maggie
Interesting.
Gyllenhaal, Best Supporting Actress. I want to say.
Is that like country singing movie? Or...
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 It's a
And I
pretty good
think
movie.
I've seen Out of the Furnace.
Yeah.
That one I have seen. Yeah.
I remember, obviously, that one caught my eye when it came out because I was like, "Oh, it's Christian Bale," but
Yeah.
but I couldn't tell you one thing about that movie. Uh,
I don't remember either. And looking at the cast, I mean, it's got Casey Affleck, Zoe Saldana, Woody Harrelson. Like, it's got some top Willem Dafoe. Like, it's got top names. I know I've seen it. I just do not remember what it was about.
yeah, um, and at the same time, I mean, we are reliving. I'm reliving this conversation that we had with Antlers, which is that, when we're watching the incision, right down the chest, and they're opening it up, and you're seeing the organs, and you're like, what the heck is going on? I'm buckled in for the ride. I'm like, let's get dark, baby. Let's get real
Yeah.
dark. And no, falls flat. So like, what is it with Scott Cooper? Why do you keep teasing us? That like you're gonna get dark and gory, and you're gonna traumatize us, and then it's like nothing near that. It's
Some
very
guys just don't know how
frustrating.
to finish, man. They just don't
Come
know how to
on, Scott Cooper. Why do you circumnavigate all our expectations?
You found it. You found
Why
it.
not you just give us what we want?
Well, I will say, looking at his track record now, I mean, I respect the man because he's really is all over the place. He doesn't have a genre. He's like, I'm in.
Yeah,
um, so that's
I
and
sorry.
I
didn't
mean,
I
realize
started reading again.
no, I didn't realize he was an actor.
Oh
He
you
was
yeah,
in
didn't.
Austin Powers too.
Oh yeah, he's acted quite a bit too.
Yeah, he was
Um,
in some good movies.
yeah. And I mean, I'm as a direct again. I mean, the problem is he also wrote the screenplay for this. So I want to say he's a better director than he is a writer,
yeah.
because I didn't have, except for just those decisions. And again, that was more as a writer, but as a director, I mean, I I thought the movie was shot very well. And
Hmm.
do you boys care to take a guess what the estimated budget for this movie was? What would you think the estimated budget for this movie might have been?
For a period piece and at least Christian Bale, I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say 3 million.
Oh man, I was way above that. I was like
Kevin?
50. I was like 50
72.
million.
72
Oh,
million.
Why you were still? Wow.
like I actually
What?
went down from 60. I was like at 50. I was like, let me go down to 60.
Wow.
Let me go. Anyway, That's
I
funny.
don't know. I think it was fake snow.
It had to be. You
It's
know,
all
I was. That's. I was watching that, and when Poe took Leah to the cemetery, and they were standing out there, I was like, I wonder, are they really acting in snow right now? Like, are they freezing to death? And they have to
Yeah.
pretend like they're not cold. And but I was like, man, that also could just be fake snow, and this is done inside of a studio. How much money would it cost to do that?
Yeah.
So it's funny that you said that, because I've never understood that. Like with scenes that happen particularly in snow, like are you really recording in snow or is this fake?
Well, I know for a fact. Well, it said that it was shot in Pennsylvania, and depending on what part of Pennsylvania they were at, but I mean, I don't know that there's many parts of Pennsylvania that have gotten that amount of snowfall, during the time that this would have been shot.
Got you.
So
Well,
I'm
yeah,
led
it
to
was
be,
it was a good amount.
yeah.
yeah, I'm
But if you're making a movie, you want to control it, so it's most likely fake snow.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm thinking the snow, I'm thinking the costumes because they had to make a lot of those uniforms.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like you said, Christian Bale.
That scene where they're all in the woods, there was probably about 100 of those guys. So right there, you're talking like at least 20, 25 million right there for that scene
Yeah,
alone.
yeah. So are you guys in agreement? Do you know what Edgar Allan Poe looks like? Have you seen a portrait? And are you in agreement that this guy was born with a calling on his life to play this role, play this character?
The pose that I've seen always had a mustache, so I feel like towards the end when he was giving his speech, if he would have looked a little more disheveled and started having a 5 o'clock shadow around his upper lip, I could have been more intrigued by the scene of it. Excuse me, or not the scene, but the look of it. But I've always seen Poe with the mustache, so I feel like his facial structure was there, but I couldn't buy in only because there was no facial hair.
But I think he could have though, because he was still in the academy at
That's
that
cool.
point.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
I think he looked like a young version of Poe. He was really really on it.
But he sounded like Abraham Lincoln.
I,
Damn.
so,
On my second watch, I'm gonna listen for that.
I after I watched this movie, I was walking around my house and I wanted to talk to that. I'm like, listen, we will not do that. I'm like, oh wait. I'm like, I want to go around talking like they do.
Did they did I miss this too?
Yes.
Or did they mention what happened to his wife? That's what I wanted to know.
No, I don't
I
think
know she died. She
so.
got, or she, yeah, didn't she die? She get sick and die, or made that up? Maybe.
I thought she got sick.
Yeah, they just mentioned he was a widower. I don't think they said how she died.
Yeah.
The only death that we got to see was his daughter's.
Yeah. And again, just like in the Banshees of Inisherin, I also liked how this one started off and then bang, right to the point.
Yeah, the initial scenes really felt, I don't know, they felt perfectly to like introduce the story and the character, because obviously Landor is the main character. So we see him by the river, and then it cuts to the policeman at his house telling him that he has no choice. He has to come down and see constable or whatever they're called. I don't know,
Yeah.
the higher ups. And he gets to the higher ups. They say, listen, we don't trust you, but this is the job. And boom, here we are. I think it was like 16 minutes in, and
Yeah.
we're already getting the meat and potatoes. So yeah, I do agree. It was a nice, but see, like we lost that pacing. Like that was very quick pacing,
Yeah.
and then we have a
Yeah.
whole hour and a half of just being spoon fed these tiny little tidbits.
Yeah. Another thing that bothered me, if you think about it, because he's such a great detective, right, and whatnot. That first murder that he committed, like he was like seconds away from getting caught.
Yeah.
So like it didn't seem like it was planned out that well.
Yeah.
It
No, I
was a
don't think
crime
it
of
was.
passion.
Yeah.
No, because he planned it out enough to
Yeah.
send the note that drew that guy out there, so he knew what he was gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was sloppy.
Well, I mean, he's not really a killer. He's usually solving the killings, not performing them.
I don't know. I guess in my mind, I always envision like if you're an expert at solving the crimes, you should be pretty good at staging one.
That's why
Would
all those
you?
cops
Okay.
get caught.
So, wait, what?
That's why all those cops that kill people get caught.
Oh, yeah, true. So, all right. So let me ask you. So you're pretty good at playing on the guitar, right? Could you write a song out with notes and everything?
Yeah, I write. I write song. I've written music.
I thought you just wrote lyrics, man. I don't know.
No,
I've never seen your music sheets.
no, but I mean, maybe you haven't, but yeah, I've written both music and lyrics.
Oh, okay.
I've
I was trying to play in a detective solving crimes and then being able to use his skills to perform crimes.
yeah,
Actually, that'd be a pretty good. Wait a minute, isn't that Dexter? That's the story. That's
kind. He's not a detective. He's a crime scene
Um,
like
uh, is he
scientist.
investigator.
a splatter specialist or whatever?
Yeah,
Blood splatter.
he's a forensic scientist.
Oh, lame. It probably would have been better if he was a damn detective. What are you gonna learn from the way the blood splatters? I guess I've never seen it.
Well, that's why he can set up the crime scenes perfect.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So it can be done, at least on Dexter.
yeah.
At least in
Um,
fiction, it can be done.
all right, Kevin, can I get a drum roll?
Can you almost? Can I give a fun fact about this movie before you
While he looks
determine
for the drum roll.
your
Oh, hold on, because that's what the drum roll's for. I'm gonna go into Juan's fun facts.
Oh, this is a
Oh,
segment. I love it. I love it.
I did
But
I
not.
love it. I love it.
I
I
did
love it.
like you did. I thought drum roll meant we were going to the end, but here we go.
no, but um, that sounded like plates crashing and breaking in the kitchen.
Why? Why did we have a test run, Juan? Why?
That's not the one
Why
you
the
played
drum rolls
before.
and test- One more time. That's it.
Uh,
There you go.
All right, we'll test it out for next week. So actually, I would like you to say your fun fact first because I'd like to see if it's one of the ones that I have.
oh, there we go.
It's about the cinematographer because you were talking about how beautiful it was shot. The cinematographer also shot Stillwater, The Gray, Warrior, Silver Linings Playbook, Out of the Furnace, Black Mass, all those other movies. So I was like, oh wow, he did Stillwater and some other good movies I liked. But
Okay, let me get something straight here.
Better,
okay,
please. You like Stillwater?
no,
A,
I thought it was pretty, but I did
a
not
fun
like it.
fact is not someone's filmography.
No, first of all, it's cinematographer was the same guy. I can't say his name because he's Japanese, Masa Takeyang. But yeah,
Oh boy,
Okay, all right.
I didn't
All
have
right.
fun during that
Get,
fact. I'll tell
get
you that.
ready. I'm ready to poop all over your fun facts. Let's go.
Okay, first fun fact from the Pale Blue Eye is that the final short story that Edgar Allan Poe authored is titled Landor's
Thunder's
Cottage. Okay, okay, buddy.
Okay.
That was
And,
fun.
and
I
I didn't know that.
I didn't know it was facts we already knew, but okay.
apparently, based off of the descriptions in the short story, they, built Landor's Cottage based off of those descriptions.
Oh,
Um,
that's fun.
here's a funny fact.
Well, I see what you did there.
Okay, so I found this hilarious, but apparently, uh, potentially mentally disabled Pennsylvania politician John Fetterman and his wife Giselle are in this movie as extras in one of the pub scenes. He and the filmmakers became friends while they were filming Out of the Furnace in Braddock, Pennsylvania. But Christian Bale's quote is the real gem here.
Yeah.
Bale is quoted as saying, and you have to know what John Fetterman looks like to get this. So if you don't know what John
Wait,
Fetterman,
hold on. Let me look him up real quick.
okay, Google him. John
He's preparing
Fetterman.
himself.
Tell
Yeah,
me
no,
when you
because
got it.
I want to be fully immersed in this. All right, he's up. Oh, I've seen this guy. I've never
Yeah,
knew.
yeah, he always wears a hoodie. So he says, Christian Bale said, John's got this fantastic face, a hulking figure. So I said to Scott, we've got to have him in the tavern. That's a face that fits in the 1830s. What a compliment.
He does. Oh my gosh, he really does. I see
He
that
look-
low light with the pint going up to his lips now.
Dude, he looks like he belongs in Frankenstein's lab or something.
That's. I saw him and said he's got to go in the pub immediately.
And final fun fact,
Yeah.
apparently in the diary that the deceased man Fry's mother gives to Landor, apparently when Landor is looking through it, on one of the pages there is either like some type of an image or an outline that resembles the bat signal.
Oh my.
And those are Juan's fun facts.
All right, I might have to look for that one in my second viewing. The director knew what he was talking about, man. This guy was on point.
Hey, after you watch that second viewing, can you record a podcast just you explaining the movie to us?
I'm gonna make my own podcast called Mark's Explanations. All right, listen. This is what it was about. All right. Well, listen. I'm ready to go into some ratings because I from what I'm hearing, it all sounds like we're almost on the same page, except for Juan. There's like 8% of him I'm not sure about.
All right, well, you're up. It was your pick.
All right, great. So, The Pale Blue Eye. It's gonna be 3 little Jerry's for me. It is intriguing enough. It was intriguing enough to hold my attention. Godly 2-hour running. Um, really, this movie could have had at least 30 minutes shaved off. Just the unraveling of things was so slow that once it happened in the end, a lot of it was kind of cop outs, but because I was just so intrigued about all of this finally happening, I was going along with it. And that really doesn't make for a good movie. And not at least not one that I want to watch again. And but well, no, now the director said what he said, I have to watch it again. So I will be watching it again, but I'm not basing this review on that. Um had I have not known what the director said, I would never watch this movie again. And it's no fault to anyone that was in this movie. It was really just the story itself and how it came about. If those things were changed, this could have been like a masterpiece.
You know what else bothered me? When the first heart that got taken out of the guy's chest, and
Uh-huh.
then the doc, he's interrogating him, and he's like, "So how would one do that? What would one need?" And the guy's like, "Well, you'd have to put it in paper, and it'd have to be in ice." And then
Yeah.
the next time he's in that room, there's just chunks of ice on a chair.
Everything was just too easy. It was too easy. There was no real detective work being had. It was just coincidences. Oh wow. Here we
No,
go with some
all
large ice cubes.
all his detective work was banging the right chick.
I mean,
And,
if only I would have known that secret sooner in life.
It's such a metaphor for life.
and how lucky did Landor get that at the same time he was killing somebody, there was these
Yeah.
young kids committing satanic murders.
Looking for a hanged man.
Yeah, they're like, man, guys, if only we had a heart.
But
Hey,
listen, the heart has to be from a guy that was just recently hanged, okay? That is the stipulation, guys. He's got to have a rope around his neck.
Wait, Charlie, do you see what I see on that tree?
Holy smokes, it's a hanged man. What are the odds? And Christian Bale scurrying off in the background goes, perfect. All a part of my plan.
And then I forgot, we didn't even mention how they got the guy who was watching the dead body to leave by just wearing a jacket saying, hey, I'm relieving you. Okay. What do you look like?
I
No, I saw
100%
something.
believe that, bro. At the end of my shift, somebody's like, hey, I'm here to relieve you. Deuces. I don't care who you are, where you come from. He was like, that's weird. You didn't ask. I said, no, it's not. I'm looking to go home. But he did exactly what I would have did. Clock's up. Okay, bye.
It wasn't the end of his shift, though. He got relieved early.
Hell yeah, even better. Are you kidding me?
But he remembered that they were missing a
Wait,
bar,
I
and then
get to
they
go
find
home
that
an hour
jacket.
early? Sick. Let's go.
Go home, ask questions later.
That was the most believable part of the movie for me.
No,
I wouldn't have asked questions either.
What do you mean that guy relieved you? Just because he was wearing a red shirt? Yep.
Good enough for me. That's the true wage slave man right there.
I think they did ask him. He goes, well, how did you know who he was? I didn't. Why not?
He
I
had
don't
a
ask
pulse.
questions like that.
I took it.
You don't question your
superiors.
That probably was. You know what? That was definitely my favorite part of the movie because that was the only time in the movie I was talking out loud. I was like, he ain't do nothing wrong. I would have done the same thing. What do you mean? He's here to relieve me. Wasn't that odd? Yeah, but I mean, damn, I got to go home early. Would you? Hell yeah. That was pretty good. I forgot about that scene.
That reminds me of one of my favorite quotes from The Office, where this guy Andy, he says, "Not my job, not my prob. I'm going home to polish my knob."
Beautiful. Put it on your wall, bro. That's it.
All right, I'll go. This for me, I, obviously I'm disappointed because I sat through almost 2 hours of a movie, thinking like, wow, that was enjoyable, only to have that, estimated in the last 10 minutes. So for me, I will not be watching it again to get a better understanding of it. And I also would not really be recommending it. But again, Christian Bale had a great performance. There were good things in the movie, which is, again, why it was so disappointing that it ended the way that it did. So for me, it's a 2. 2 out of 5 little Jerry's.
There we go. Boys getting it.
Good. All right. So, also shout out to Toby Jones. This is our second movie we reviewed of him in the past 3 movies. Both of them period pieces. So they just keep throwing him back in time.
I mean, yeah. He also has the face of someone to be the pup of 1800s.
It's like an 1800 troll. But, that's right. I said it. But when I was watching the first half of the movie, I was like, it was about a 2 because it wasn't bad. The last part, I would give a 4 to because I liked it, even though apparently you did not. So it equals out to a 3, and that's what I'm gonna give this movie. I may rewatch it when I get over my rebellious attitude of someone telling me to watch it, but yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't offensive. It was a movie.
Will you watch this with your kids?
I was gonna say, like, I didn't watch it because I think it was rated R, and I didn't see why it was rated R for.
I mean, there were intestines hanging out of a man's body.
But you didn't answer the question.
Yeah, no, I actually would. I would.
All right. At least half of them. Or all of them.
Man, we do all or nothing, man. If they want to watch it with me, they can watch it with me. I don't care if you're 5 or 13. Let's go.
This guy's telling me about the insides of a cadaver.
She
Fair enough.
She'd probably be the first one to tell you the inaccuracies or the holes in the story.
Like, how did that happen? That's not.
That's how it goes.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
All right. Well, if nothing else, we can thank Scott Cooper for giving us some
Blue balls again.
some fuel for our comedic endeavors.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Well,
Fair enough.
I'm excited for the next pick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. It's my turn. I got a list. I'm going to go through it and see which film deserves to be the next one that we look at. We thank everyone who is listening. We ask that you continue to listen and share if you are so inclined. But thank you for listening. We enjoy doing it, and we will return.
Hey, make the right choice. Love you.